Hello, my name is Ravi Shankar. I'm the Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer for Denodo. Today, I'm talking to Balaji Rajagopalan. He's the CEO of Decision Minds. Balaji, it's very nice to talk to you.
Thank you, Ravi. Very good to meet you. Nice to be here.
Awesome. Thank you. So for our audience, Balaji, could you tell us what Decision Mind does and about what services and solutions you provide?
Decision Minds specializes in the analytics, robotic process automation, multi-cloud orchestration, and AI ops. And more specifically, we take pride in offering the data modernization strategy for the large corporations, including cloud analytics transformation with the technologies like Snowflake and Denodo.
So what is your perspective on Denodo? We have been partnering together for quite a while. And how do we together address some of the challenges that a lot of the enterprises face from a technology perspective?
Denodo has been actually a very good value addition in our data modernization strategy. A few years ago, when even though data virtualization has been around for a while, when we evaluated a number of technologies, we found Denodo really scaling for the large enterprise customers that we had. There are a number of challenges that we are able to solve, especially when people are looking to move from on-prem to cloud. We are able to kind of really bring the old and new data sources kind of together in a logical data fabric, more of an enterprise data layer, addressing number of issues, including the self-service reporting, the security, data quality, governance, and the compliance. And I think we have used Denodo in a number of different scenarios across our customers. It has worked out well.
All right, that's good to hear. Now, tell us a little bit more into the challenges that the enterprise customers for whom you're trying to solve, and talk about it from a time frame perspective over the next 2 to 3 years.
Sure. We definitely see the customers looking to move into the cloud world. I mean, for a number of reasons, be it the global or global performance, or the scalability and the increasing security, and also the operational flexibility, because data is always growing and they really need the flexibility of the cloud. And as they move into from the traditional on-prem into the cloud as part of their data modernization strategy, the data virtualization nicely comes in to be able to, one, how do we continue to support the existing and the new reporting that are coming? And there is always increased questions around how does the security work? How does the governance and the data quality work? And how are we going to address the privacy and the other regulatory compliance thing that need to be put on top of the data? And that's where I think, especially with the data virtualization, having a common set of rules on top comes very, very handy to be able to implement some of the strategies.
Gotcha. All right. So one of the things you talked about, Balaji, is the transformation to the cloud, which is a modernization effort. So can you elaborate a little bit more on the data modernization trends that are happening right now and how data virtualization fits within these modernization efforts?
Right. We do see, first of all, people definitely, even when they consider moving into the cloud world, they have a lot of questions on, in fact, how to kind of support the ETLs in the new area, and how to kind of really make sure that the existing reporting is continuing to be supported. That's the second major thing. And then on top of it, they do want to keep the new data source as the central for everything that they do, including the microservices coming on top, and how they're all serving more in the data as a service model or a self-service reporting model to the enterprise. There are more questions than answers when people really embark on this journey. I think data virtualization solves many challenges in that space, especially with our experience of bringing in data virtualization along with technologies like Snowflake in today's world. That becomes a powerful tool as companies look at modernizing their data platform.
For sure. So, Balaji, we have been learning about artificial intelligence for quite a while in our computer science career, but lately it has been very prominent with many of the companies including them as part of their technology stack. So where do you kind of see the world of this artificial intelligence and machine learning kind of going forward, and how do you think that will kind of feature within the technologies that we provide?
Sure. Interesting question. At least my personal view over the last few years, I kind of think AI slightly differently, where it is really not a separate field per se. It's going to be part of anything and everything that we do. It's going to basically change the way that we are going to look at our customers, consumers, and the employees and people. It's just going to basically even come into your cars, to groceries, to your surgeries, to anything that you do, to be able to really make it more efficient and better, and also prevent some accidents. And I kind of see AI being part of on anything and everything, and that's kind of the future. But it's going to nicely blend into what we do, as compared to that being completely outside of what we do.
Completely agree. It is seen as a way to maybe automate a lot of the manual functions. It is like using a calculator where we used to do, all the multiplications by hand or by rote. Um, so now coming back to the data virtualization world, so we have been jointly implementing our solution for some of the mutual customers that we both have. So can you actually, for our audience, help understand what are the types of use cases that we actually solve at some of these mutual customers?
Sure. Now we have seen about 4 to 5 different use cases. The prominent ones are, like I said, as part of the modernization, how do we bring in an enterprise logical data fabric? Because nobody can move from the current to the future in one day, right? So how do we basically bring in an enterprise wide logical data layer as people move from the current on-prem into the cloud environment? We kind of see data virtualization playing a big role there. And the second is, how do we really support the tool and the data democracy, which is the industry? Every day there is a new tool coming, and in fact, some of them are AI driven and are very appealing to the business users. So how can we support a data virtualization or a common data layer on top of the enterprise data sources, providing the supporting the data democracy and the tool democracy that the world needs today? And the third is that how do you still keep it secured, consistent quality and governance, so that there is no internal, external exposure to the organizations, and the data itself is accurately delivered. Okay. And then this actually has much more importance when it comes to the regulatory compliance, because the certain sensitivity around the data to be protected, be it the privacy, be it the any other regulatory compliance specific rules, be it the data masking, those are kind of some of the use cases that we really see. Without something like Denodo or a data virtualization coming, it's going to be a lot more difficult to solve in a simpler way. The last one we also see, actually also to provide the operational flexibility for the enterprise data team, to be able to say, how do you now provide data as a service, where people can access the data assets that you have through an API without having to replicate the data itself, is something that we have also seen as a use case.
Gotcha. And these are some of the successful ones you have delivered for our mutual customers. So that is great. So for people who are embarking on this journey and they have similar challenges, how would you want them to engage with you, Balaji?
Sure. I think if you are looking at modernizing your the data platforms, and especially how data virtualization can also be effectively used, and how many of your questions can be addressed, where together in the new data API world, people can be successful, please reach out to us at sales@decisionminds.com, or feel free to visit our website and reach out.
All right. So that brings us to an end of this live talk. So Balaji, it was very nice to talk to you, and I will see you in the next similar session.
Perfect. Thanks, Ravi. Very, very good to be partnering with Denodo. Thank you.